Oh, hello. I want to talk really quickly. Let me start moving. I'm going to start. I'm going ahead and start talking. I heard somebody briefly say about how brown women give birth to a child every year. And she was talking about some, I guess it's some artist signed by Jay-Z. I tried to catch the name that she was saying, but I could not catch the name because I don't know who that person is. I have not listened. If this is a new artist, I have not listened to new artists in a long time. And so apparently she has I guess this person has a contract that she can't have kids for 5 years. I think that would make sense if that, I mean, people have a right to choose how they want their business to run. People have a right to choose how they want. If this sounds like it might be an artist, Aerostar. I don't know who that is. Aerostar. Somebody, if they want to know that who that is, please put that in the chat. I don't know who Aerostar, whoever it is. I heard somebody talking about her, just doing a brief little video about how somebody named Aerostar or whatever is signed with Jay-Z. And I guess it's a contract that she can't have children for 5 years. And yeah, I mean, I kind of don't see anything wrong with that. I'm just gonna say, I kind of don't see anything wrong with that. But the point that the person that was making the video was saying is that you had brown women that was concerned about, what about white women? You know, what about white women? So I guess this hairstyle person is a brown lady. I don't know. I don't understand what's the point of bringing up white women when somebody signs an artist to a label and they have a contract saying you can't have children for 5 years because it's a contract. I don't understand where white women would come into it. It sounds like an obsession. But then she said it sounds like the same thing that, you know, the brown community was like when Bill Cosby and R. Kelly was charged. And you had the brown community that was talking about, well, what about Harvey Weinstein? Harvey Weinstein, and he's still in jail. But the point is, I see what she was saying. I don't know who this Aerostar person is, but I get her point. Is that brown people they hate taking accountability, so they stay obsessed with white people and what's going on in the white community because they don't want to take accountability. But here's where I want to go. The topic of the video is, if benefits stop, the birth of the black community will stop. The reason I say that is because she said towards the end that the Asian women are getting paid in their countries to give birth, to get married and give birth. Donald Trump is paying white women to give birth, but nobody has to pay the brown woman because she gives birth all the time. And that's where I get to that is where I get to the title of this video. I want to say this. Brown women who come up in certain communities, there are certain brown women who don't have children. If they do, they only have one, no more than two. There are certain brown women who do not have children, and if they do, they have one, no more than two, and that's it. And then you have some brown women coming up nowadays that aren't having any children at all. So the reason why I say if benefits stop, then the birth of the brown community will stop, is because most of the children, if you listen to most of the stories that come from people, they say they grew up on welfare, they grew up in the hood. Most people that we see grew up a certain way, right? Most of the children, a lot of the children that we see come from underserved communities. And the only reason those children The only reason those ladies keep having those children that live in those underserved communities is because they are receiving benefits. And the minute they stop receiving benefits, they're going to stop having all these children because they're not going to be stuck with, they're not going to know how to take care of it. They're not going to get checks. Okay. There was a letter called Poor Black Woman that came out around the 60s. It was during the time of the Black Panther movement. It came out during the time of the Black Panther movement. And the leaders of the Black Panther Party was wrote a letter to the female leader. What is it? They was talking to the female leader of the Black Panther Party and talking about it's encouraging the women to not take birth control because it is genocide against the black race. So they were trying to tell the women around that time in the 60s, I think it was the 60s, early 70s, but I believe it was the 60s, because the Black Panther Party, I believe, was dismantled before the 70s. Okay, it was dismantled by the late 60s. So this is around the 60s when the brown women had the option to take birth control, and they were taking birth control. And you had some of the leaders of the Black Panther Party talking to the leaders, the female leaders of the Black Panther Party, trying to urge the women to stop taking birth control because the men complained that it was genocide against the black race, according to their words, right? And so then you had the leader of the female leader of the Black Panther Party in response to this black male leader saying, and the letter was called Poor Black Woman, saying that these guys get these women pregnant. They were complaining that they were pregnant and they would run off, not take care of their children. They would be doing drugs, having sex with all other different kinds of women and all that stuff. And they're left with taking care of the children, and they could not afford it. They weren't getting any benefits and they couldn't afford it. And so they had to take birth control in order to stop the birth of children so they wouldn't be stuck with the bills. And this was before brown women started receiving benefits. So they were taking birth control so they would not get pregnant. And that is the reason why I titled this the way I titled it. I didn't say it for no reason. I say that because around the time when there was a time when brown women en masse took birth control because the men were running out on them, not take care of their children. Although people want to blame welfare on the reason why the man is not in the house, brown women back then were taking birth control because they were getting pregnant, and the man was not, most of the time, the men were not sticking around to take care of their children. And this was in the 60s. And there was no welfare. So they said they want to take birth control and do something to stop the births of children because they are left with the children to raise by themselves, and it was too much. Okay? So these leaders were not going to stop these women from taking birth control because they do not want to be a single mother with no benefits and not able to have to raise this child by themselves. But then when you got to the time where brown women were able to get on welfare and get these benefits, and I'm not against welfare because if you need it, you need it. I'm not against it because if you need it, you need it, right? But now these ladies don't care how many children they give birth to because they know that if the men don't show up, they know they're going to get government assistance. And you have a certain group of women that do that, right? You have a certain group of women that do that. A lot of times women in underserved communities are the main ones that's having the children. They are the main ones that are birthing the black community. Okay? If they ever lose benefits, the birth of the black community will stop. Because certain women, certain brown women that I've talked to that are my age and older have never had children, never been married, never anything. And they grew up a certain way. Okay? So anyway, I'm saying that the most of the community comes from those women. If it was up to most women that did not, I want to say, did not come up in the hood, most of the women who were not raised in the hood don't have 50, 11 children. I'm not trying to be funny. They don't have all those children like that. It's the women that are in the hood that are the reason that there is a Black community altogether. They are the reason that there is even a Black community. Because most of the women who have not grown up in the hood, they don't have children like that. They don't want children. They don't want to have children like that. Okay? I don't have children at all. I've never been pregnant. And some of the women that grew up kind of like me either never had children or they don't have more than one or two. And they're done. Okay? And so I'm saying if it had not been for those kind of women that grew up in the hood like that, there would be no Black community. And if you take away benefits, the Black community will stop. But anyway, I just felt like talking about that really quickly, and I will talk later.